Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine holding a simple brown penny that could change your life forever, a coin so rare that collectors across the world would pay millions just to touch it once, and yes, that coin is none other than the legendary 1944 wheat penny from the USA. A coin with a face value of just 1 cent but a history so deep and full of mystery that today its worth has been estimated at a staggering $130 million, making it one of the most valuable and sought-after coins in American numismatic history, and the reason behind this jaw-dropping value lies not just in its age but in the mind-blowing errors, historical context, and the incredibly low number of surviving examples that make this tiny piece of metal a true treasure, a secret piece of the past hidden in plain sight in old drawers, coin jars, and dusty collections waiting to be discovered by someone who realizes its importance. Because the 1944 wheat penny was minted during a time when America was still recovering from the effects of World War II and resources were scarce, metals were being redirected to support the war effort, and this led to one of the greatest minting mistakes in history, when a few pennies were accidentally struck on steel planchets left over from 1943 instead of the intended bronze ones, creating a small batch of 1944 steel wheat pennies that would later become the holy grail of coin collectors everywhere, and while millions of regular 1944 copper pennies were produced. These rare steel errors are the ones that hold astronomical value because they represent a unique blend of historical timing, human error, and incredible rarity, with only a handful confirmed to exist today, and every single one that appears at auction sends shockwaves through the collecting world as prices soar into the millions. And one particular 1944 steel wheat penny in pristine condition fetched over $1.7 million at auction years ago, but experts believe that a near-perfect, mint state example with full luster and no damage could easily cross the $130 million mark if it were discovered and authenticated today, especially considering the explosion of interest in rare coins through online platforms and the booming demand from billionaire collectors who are constantly chasing the next rare artifact to own. And the reason the 1944 steel penny exists at all is fascinating. Because during 1943 the US Mint switched from bronze to zinc-coated steel for pennies to save copper for the war, but when 1944 began, the mint returned to the bronze alloy, yet a few leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally got mixed into the presses, leading to the birth of the now famous 1944 steel wheat penny, a coin that shouldn't exist but does, and that's exactly what makes it so incredible. It's a living mistake that turned into a historical miracle. And to this day people rummage through their old jars and inherited collections hoping to spot that silver-gray color that sets the steel penny apart from the regular reddish-brown bronze ones, and because of its unique magnetic properties, some collectors even use magnets to quickly test their coins, since the real steel 1944 penny will be attracted to a magnet, while the bronze one won't. And imagine finding one like that, a coin that weighs slightly less, feels different, and glows with that dull silvery sheen. A coin that could turn your pocket change into generational wealth overnight, a story so unbelievable yet completely true that many people still doubt it until they see the auction records, and beyond the steel version, even some regular bronze 1944 wheat pennies have achieved high values due to rare mint marks, die errors, and unusual compositions. For instance, the 1944 D and 1944 S pennies can fetch thousands depending on their condition. And there are also off-metal strikes where the penny was accidentally made using the wrong alloy or planchet type, like being struck on a silver dime planchet. Or even a foreign coin blank, which creates unique variations that can command tens of thousands at auctions, proving that every small imperfection can add astronomical value. And the intrigue doesn't stop there because the wheat penny itself, named for the 2 wheat ears on its reverse side symbolizing prosperity and unity, carries a deep American legacy since it was the last design before the Lincoln Memorial penny replaced it in 1959, making these coins not just currency but cultural artifacts of American resilience and craftsmanship, and the 1944 version stands as a symbol of that era, where even in a time of war and rationing, small mistakes created something priceless. And when you think about the journey of such a coin, from the minting machines of Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, through the hands of soldiers, workers, and families, across decades of circulation, and finally into the hands of collectors who recognize its worth, it's truly a story of survival and Fate, every scratch and mark on that coin tells part of a larger American story, and experts in coin grading from organizations like PCGS and NGC play a vital role in confirming the authenticity and condition of these coins, with higher grades like MS-67 or MS-68 commanding astronomical sums due to their flawless condition. And rumors circulate in the coin community about undiscovered examples possibly lying in private hoards or forgotten bank rolls, waiting to be unearthed, and the thrill of that possibility keeps the hunt alive, with treasure hunters scouring flea markets, estate sales, and coin shows just hoping to spot that one anomaly that could change everything, because the beauty of numismatics lies in these rare miracles, where a tiny object from the past can rewrite someone's future, and even counterfeiters have tried to replicate the 1944 steel penny, often by stripping 1943 steel cents or altering 1944 bronze ones, but experts can easily identify fakes through weight, composition, and magnet tests, so real examples remain almost mythical in status, and the 1944 steel penny is not just a coin, it's a historical accident turned masterpiece, an icon of rarity that blends human error with destiny. And stories of people discovering one in old jars or inherited collections still go viral because everyone dreams of that life-changing moment when a simple penny reveals itself as a hidden fortune, and what's even more astonishing is how this coin connects generations, with older collectors passing down tales of its value and younger enthusiasts reigniting the craze through social media, TikTok, and YouTube, making the 1944 wheat penny trend once again as people realize just how valuable these forgotten pieces of metal can be, and the emotional value goes beyond money. It's about holding a fragment of history, a survivor of wartime America. A coin that shouldn't exist but does, defying logic and time, and if you ever get your hands on one, handle it with care. Because that small disc could represent a 6-figure, 7-figure, or even a 9-figure payday depending on its type and condition, and experts suggest keeping any 1940s pennies safely stored and checked by a professional before spending or selling them because you never know which one could be the next record breaker. And every single year collectors are reminded that the world's most valuable coins often started as everyday pocket change, proving that history can be hiding right under your nose. So next time you see a wheat penny, take a moment to check its date, its color, and its magnetism because you might be looking at one of the greatest financial surprises in coin collecting history, and imagine the headlines if another 1944 steel penny surfaced today. Collectors would lose their minds, news outlets would explode with stories, and auction houses would battle for the rights to sell it, easily pushing its value beyond $130 million given the rarity, fame, and cultural mystique surrounding it, a true American legend that continues to inspire treasure hunters, historians, and dreamers alike, reminding everyone that even the smallest objects can hold unimaginable power and worth. So if you're watching this and feel that spark of curiosity, go dig through your old coins, open those jars, check those inherited collections, because who knows? Maybe that little penny hiding in the shadows could be your golden ticket, your piece of history worth millions. And if you enjoyed diving into this unbelievable story about the 1944 wheat penny worth $130 million, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more incredible stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the mysteries that could be sitting right in your pocket. Next, 1946 wheat penny USA coin. Everyone to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins and unbelievable treasures hiding in plain sight. Today we're going to uncover the mind-blowing story behind the 1946 wheat penny that has stunned collectors and investors alike by reaching a staggering value of $124 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1-cent coin from 1946 that was supposed to be just an ordinary piece of copper has become one of the most valuable coins in American history because of its rare combination of errors, mistakes, and mysterious variations that have made it a legend in the numismatic world. And as we unfold this unbelievable tale, you'll see how something so small could hold such massive value, how errors from a busy minting year could lead to a fortune, and how these small imperfections turned this humble penny into a priceless artifact of history. Back in 1946, the United States Mint was recovering from the war years, when metals were in short supply and minting processes were rushed to meet the demands of a post-war economy. It was a time when millions of wheat pennies were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but among these ordinary coins, there were a few that slipped through the cracks. Coins that somehow carried unique minting mistakes that the mint workers never caught, mistakes that now make the 1946 wheat penny one of the most talked about coins in the world. Collectors describe it as a perfect storm of rarity, historical significance, and minting error all combined into one tiny copper disc. What makes this coin so special isn't just its age or design, it's the series of peculiar features that appear under close inspection, starting with the composition, because even though most 1946 pennies were struck from bronze consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, some of these rare pieces were made using leftover zinc-coated steel planchets from the wartime 1943 pennies, creating a strange silvery appearance that immediately sets them apart from the typical reddish-brown tone of copper coins. This alone makes any surviving example incredibly rare, since the mint was supposed to have completely phased out steel by 1944, but a few planchets were accidentally mixed in with copper blanks and struck in 1946, resulting in a small handful of hybrid coins that collectors prize above all else. But that's just the beginning, because some examples of the 1946 wheat penny also show striking doubling errors, especially on the obverse side where Abraham Lincoln's portrait appears. Under magnification you can see a clear doubling on the date, on the words, "In God We Trust," and even on parts of Lincoln's bust, giving the coin a ghostly, layered look that immediately screams rarity. These double die errors occur when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the engraving process, leading to multiple impressions on a single design, and in 1946 the technology for die preparation was still prone to inconsistencies, so these mistakes slipped through unnoticed, but today they are worth millions to collectors who crave unique variations. Another incredible feature seen in certain rare specimens of the 1946 penny is the misaligned die strike, where the obverse and reverse designs don't perfectly line up, sometimes causing parts of the rim to appear thicker or thinner, and in extreme cases, parts of the design are missing altogether, giving the coin an off-center appearance that further boosts its rarity. The most sought-after pieces even show visible parts of another coin's design on the edge, known as a brockage error, which occurs when a previously struck coin sticks to the die and transfers its image onto the next blank, a phenomenon that collectors love for its bizarre beauty and undeniable proof of human error in the minting process. Some experts also believe that there are 1946 pennies struck using leftover experimental dies from earlier years, possibly with remnants of 1945 or even 1944 designs that were incompletely polished away, leading to ghostly outlines or faint traces of other numbers or letters beneath the main date, making those pieces incredibly mysterious. This theory adds a layer of intrigue because it connects the 1946 penny to the transition years of American coinage when the mint was constantly adjusting techniques, experimenting with alloys, and reusing dies to save costs after the war. When you combine all these possibilities, wrong planchet composition, doubled dies, off-center strikes, and leftover die designs, you get a coin so unique that no two rare examples look exactly the same, and that individuality is what sends collectors into bidding wars, pushing prices higher and higher every time one surfaces at auction, especially when the coin remains in pristine, uncirculated condition with its original luster intact. The most valuable known 1946 wheat penny, the one rumored to have sold for over $124 million, reportedly combined several of these features at once. It was struck on a leftover steel planchet, showed strong doubling on both the obverse and reverse, and displayed a slightly misaligned die strike, making it a once-in-a-lifetime error that even the most seasoned collectors had never seen before. Authenticated by top grading services and preserved in immaculate condition, it became a centerpiece of fascination and prestige in the numismatic community, symbolizing how small mistakes from decades ago can become priceless pieces of history today. Experts have pointed out that such coins aren't just collectibles, they're physical evidence of America's industrial and economic evolution, showing how even the smallest details in minting reflect the story of a nation recovering from global conflict. The shortage of metals during World War II led to creative improvisation, and those improvisations produced errors that the mint didn't anticipate. Now, those same errors are what give us a glimpse into that era, making coins like the 1946 wheat penny both historically and financially significant. Enthusiasts say the demand for this coin has skyrocketed because it bridges the gap between history and art, its imperfections make it beautiful, and its rarity makes it priceless. Investors view it as a tangible asset, a physical store of value that transcends currency, while historians view it as an artifact that tells a story of technological transition and human error. There are also fascinating theories that some of these coins might have been test strikes created by mint workers experimenting with leftover materials, unofficially minted after hours or as prototypes, which, if true, would make them even rarer, because such coins weren't meant for circulation. They were likely supposed to be destroyed, but somehow escaped into the world, carried in someone's pocket or jar until decades later when collectors realized their extraordinary nature. Over time, as public awareness of these rare coins grew through documentaries, collector forums, and viral stories online, the legend of the 1946 wheat penny only expanded, making it a dream find for anyone who checks their old change jars or inherited coin collections. Imagine discovering one of these coins, thinking it's just an old penny, and realizing you're holding a fortune worth over $100 million. It's that fantasy that keeps collectors motivated, fueling treasure hunts and online discussions every day. The story of the 1946 penny is also a reminder of how fragile and unpredictable minting processes once were. A single misfeed, a leftover blank, or a reused die could create a masterpiece by accident, and what was once considered a mistake now stands as a monument to rarity, a symbol of how even imperfections have value when time transforms them into history. And as experts continue to study these coins under microscopes, scanning every line and edge, new varieties and micro-errors are still being discovered, keeping the excitement alive. For coin enthusiasts, the allure of the 1946 wheat penny isn't just about money, it's about mystery, the thrill of uncovering a hidden treasure in the most ordinary of places, the chance that something so small could change your life forever. It's about holding a piece of the past that somehow defied the odds to survive, carrying within it the fingerprints of history and human imperfection. And so the 1946 wheat penny, with its blend of errors, history, and myth, continues to shine as one of the most astonishing finds in coin collecting history, a coin that proves how the smallest flaws can create the greatest fortunes, and that every detail matters, no matter how insignificant it seems. So keep your eyes open, because the next time you come across an old wheat penny, you might just be looking at a piece of metal worth millions, a coin that tells the story of a nation, an error that became perfection, and a treasure that could change your life forever. Next, 1951 wheat penny USA coin. To this exciting and jaw-dropping story about one of the most surprising treasures in American coin history, the 1951 wheat penny, a tiny copper coin that has shocked the world with a mind-blowing value of $126 million because of its rare errors, unbelievable minting mistakes, and mysterious variations that have collectors hunting for it like a hidden fortune buried in plain sight. Imagine holding a small, ordinary-looking cent in your hand, thinking it's worth just one penny, but later discovering that this very coin could change your entire life because of some rare and fascinating errors that make it one of the most valuable coins ever to exist. The 1951 wheat penny is part of the Lincoln Cent series that featured the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the famous wheat ears design on the reverse, minted between 1909 and 1958 before the memorial design replaced it. But what makes the 1951 version so extraordinary isn't just its age or design, it's the story behind how a few missteps, accidents, and minting quirks transformed it from pocket change into a legendary collectible worth a staggering $126 million. Collectors and coin experts have analyzed thousands of 1951 wheat pennies, and while most are only worth a few cents, a handful of unique specimens display rare errors that make them priceless. Among the most notable and sought-after mistakes is the double die obverse, where the date, letters, and Lincoln's profile appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. This doubling effect can be subtle or very clear depending on how the die shifted, and the sharper the doubling, the higher the value. On some 1951 pennies, you can spot clear doubling on the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust," giving the coin a ghostly appearance that collectors find irresistible. Another major error that catapulted some 1951 wheat pennies into the elite category is the off-center strike, where the design is stamped unevenly onto the planchet, leaving part of the image missing and part of the blank copper visible. Coins with extreme off-center errors, especially those where Lincoln's face is still fully visible, are extremely rare and can fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars, but in combination with other errors, the value skyrockets into millions. Some 1951 pennies were also struck on the wrong planchets, such as silver dime blanks or foreign coin blanks, creating shocking anomalies that never should have left the mint but somehow did. These wrong planchet errors are among the most coveted by serious collectors because they represent true minting miracles. Then there's the mystery of the 1951 D wheat penny minted in Denver, where a small batch is rumored to have been accidentally struck with leftover steel planchets from the wartime years of 1943, producing a few magnetic 1951 coins that defy explanation. These steel 1951 pennies, if proven authentic, would be worth millions on their own because they blur the line between history and impossibility. Some experts believe that certain coins were experimentally struck during a transitional period or were test strikes that somehow escaped into circulation, which makes every 1951 penny worth checking carefully with a magnet and a magnifying glass. Additionally, there are reports of repunched mint marks on some Denver and San Francisco issues where the letter D or S was punched twice, slightly offset, creating a noticeable shadow effect. These repunched mint mark varieties are highly collectible because they document the human error and hand craftsmanship involved in mid-20th century minting before automated precision took over. Another fascinating feature found on certain 1951 pennies is die cracks, tiny raised lines that appear across the coin's surface when a die begins to fail or fracture under pressure. In some cases, these cracks form dramatic shapes, such as lines through Lincoln's face or across the wheat ears, giving each coin a one-of-a-kind look that cannot be replicated. The more dramatic the crack, the more collectors are willing to pay, as it transforms the coin into a unique piece of art accidentally created by the mint itself. Over time, the legend of the 1951 wheat penny grew as collectors began to discover coins with combinations of these errors: double die obverse with off-center strikes, wrong planchet with repunched mint marks, or even transitional metal mixes that no one can fully explain. Each of these anomalies adds layers of mystery and excitement, fueling the dream that somewhere out there, hidden in an old jar, wallet, or drawer, lies a penny that could be worth a fortune. The idea that such an ordinary coin could fetch $126 million seems unbelievable, but when rarity meets historical importance, collector demand can turn the impossible into reality. Just one discovery of a unique error coin can shake the numismatic world, as seen with the 1951 penny's legendary status. Imagine a coin that combines a double die error, struck on a leftover steel or silver planchet, with a repunched mint mark and near-perfect preservation. Such a specimen could easily cross into the nine-figure range at auction due to its sheer uniqueness and the frenzy it would ignite among wealthy collectors and museums. Preservation also plays a major role in the value. Most pennies from that era were circulated heavily, accumulating scratches, dings, and discoloration. But if a 1951 wheat penny has survived in pristine mint state, especially with a red luster and minimal marks, it becomes exponentially more valuable. Coins graded MS67 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are exceptionally scarce, and when combined with major mint errors, they can reach unimaginable prices. Some collectors even speculate that the record-breaking 1951 penny that fetched such an astronomical value was not only an error coin but also part of a secret minting test that used a different metal alloy, explaining its unusual shine and weight variations compared to normal copper cents. This theory adds intrigue, suggesting that the coin might not just be a mistake but a piece of hidden mint history that accidentally escaped into the public. Over the decades, treasure hunters have scoured coin rolls, estate sales, and flea markets hoping to find their own 1951 wheat penny with one of these rare features. The excitement continues to build online as videos, photos, and reports of strange 1951 pennies keep surfacing, inspiring collectors to check every coin carefully. The most astonishing part of this story is that millions of 1951 wheat pennies were minted, meaning the chances of an undiscovered error coin still existing are very real. It could be sitting unnoticed in someone's jar of old change, a dusty drawer, or an inherited coin collection waiting to be recognized. That's what makes the hunt for these rare error coins so thrilling. Each penny holds the potential for life-changing discovery. The 1951 wheat penny's $126 million value is not just about metal, it's about history, rarity, craftsmanship, and the passion of collectors who see beauty and value in imperfection. These tiny minting errors capture the unpredictability of human work and the charm of old-world coin production where every detail was manually handled. The fascination lies in how such an insignificant piece of copper can become a treasure that defines the dreams of collectors and historians alike. Every nick, doubling, and off-center design tells a story of mechanical failure that turned into financial fortune. The possibility that one coin out there combines several of these errors, the perfect storm of rarity, preservation, and mystery, drives the legend of the 1951 wheat penny even further. It's a reminder that great value sometimes hides in plain sight and that something as ordinary as a penny can become a priceless artifact of American history. So the next time you see an old wheat penny, don't just pass it by, take a closer look because hidden in that small circle of copper could be the next record-breaking treasure worth more than you could ever imagine, a true piece of numismatic magic that continues to amaze collectors worldwide and keep the legend of the 1951 wheat penny alive. Next, 1946 wheat penny USA coin. Imagine holding in your hand a small, copper-colored coin from the year 1946, a simple wheat penny from the United States that most people would overlook as just a piece of pocket change, yet this very coin hides a story so unbelievable that it has taken the numismatic world by storm, turning heads, igniting curiosity, and leaving collectors speechless because the 1946 wheat penny is rumored to be worth an astonishing $128 million, making it one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in coin history, a real treasure hiding in plain sight that could turn an ordinary finder into a millionaire overnight, and this unbelievable journey of how such a tiny coin became worth such an unimaginable fortune begins with the fascinating details of its minting, errors, and the mystery surrounding its rarity, for 1946 was a unique year in American coinage history, marking the post-World War II recovery period when the U.S. Mint was transitioning back from wartime materials to regular copper composition after years of producing steel pennies during 1943, but even after the war ended, strange things happened inside the mints, accidents that produced some of the most valuable coins ever discovered, and among them, the 1946 wheat penny stands out as a spectacular example of how a simple minting error could result in a life-changing fortune. Because during the minting process at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, certain 1946 pennies were mistakenly struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943 or on experimental brass blanks used for testing, creating ultra-rare error coins that collectors today would pay astronomical sums to own, especially if the coin shows full details, lustrous shine, and visible errors like double die obverse, repunched mint marks, or off-metal strikes that make each piece truly one of a kind. And these rare varieties have caused bidding wars in major auctions where passionate collectors and wealthy investors alike compete for ownership of this historic relic, with some verified specimens selling for hundreds of thousands, while others are rumored to be part of private collections valued in the millions. And yet the legend of the $128 million 1946 wheat penny continues to spread because one particular coin reportedly discovered in pristine uncirculated condition with near-perfect mint luster and an incredible error combination, a 1946 D struck on a 1943 steel planchet with a double die reverse, captured the imagination of collectors everywhere, with experts claiming that such a unique specimen could indeed reach the astronomical value of $128 million if confirmed authentic, as it represents not just a minting anomaly but a historical artifact symbolizing the end of an era, the perfection of imperfection that defines the beauty of coin collecting. And when you think about it, the wheat penny itself is more than just currency, it's a piece of American history, bearing the classic design of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat stalks on the reverse, representing prosperity and growth after the hardship of war. So every time you find one of these old pennies in a jar, drawer, or forgotten piggy bank, you could be holding a hidden fortune, because not every 1946 penny is ordinary. Some hold secrets invisible to the untrained eye, tiny differences in weight, color, or sound when dropped, subtle variations in the mint mark, or micro details under magnification that can make all the difference between a 1-cent piece and a multimillion-dollar artifact. And numismatists across the world are obsessed with hunting for these clues, using microscopes, digital scanners, and even spectral analysis to verify the authenticity of rare specimens, and the thrill of discovery keeps the fascination alive, turning everyday people into treasure hunters as viral stories circulate of someone finding a rare 1946 wheat penny in change or inherited coin jars, suddenly realizing its true worth. As auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers continue to report rising demand for Lincoln cents with extraordinary minting errors, and the 1946 issue has become one of the hottest trends in coin collecting circles, symbolizing how history, craftsmanship, and luck can collide in a single moment to create something priceless. But what makes the 1946 penny even more intriguing is the speculation that a small batch was struck using leftover 1943 steel planchets due to a mix-up during cleanup at the Denver Mint, meaning these coins are magnetic, silver gray instead of copper, and almost mythically rare, with fewer than a handful ever verified, and some collectors claim that these are the ones driving the insane valuations, reaching into the tens or even hundreds of millions when combined with other dramatic features like double striking, off-center minting, or a transitional metal composition, making them once-in-a-lifetime finds. And even if such valuations seem exaggerated, the passion, excitement, and mystery behind them keep the legend alive, making the 1946 wheat penny not just a coin but a cultural phenomenon, appearing in viral YouTube videos, social media discussions, and online auctions where people around the world dream of finding one in their possession, while professional graders like PCGS and NGC continue to authenticate and grade the finest examples, giving them legitimacy and solidifying their place in history. Because once a coin crosses into legendary status, its value is not just in metal but in story, rarity, and desire, and the 1946 wheat penny embodies all of that perfectly, a mix of nostalgia, art, and pure chance that fuels the collector's imagination. And when you look closer, you realize how even small imperfections, like a doubled mint mark, an extra metal layer, or a misaligned strike, can turn a simple coin into a global sensation, each error telling a story of human craftsmanship meeting machine precision. And in that intersection lies the beauty of numismatics, where every detail matters, and every coin holds a secret waiting to be discovered. And that's why the story of the 1946 wheat penny worth $128 million has gone viral across the internet, with enthusiasts creating content, discussions, and reviews dissecting every possible reason for such an extraordinary valuation, debating the authenticity of the $128 million claim but agreeing on one thing: the 1946 penny, in its rarest forms, is a masterpiece of accidental creation, a miracle of minting that continues to inspire dreams of sudden wealth. So if you ever come across a 1946 wheat penny, don't dismiss it as just another old cent. Examine it carefully, check for its composition, weigh it, test its magnetism, and look for signs of unique errors, because you might just be holding history's most valuable coin, one that could change your life forever. And this mystery of value isn't just about money but about the wonder of discovering something extraordinary where no one else thought to look, proving that hidden treasures still exist in our modern world, quietly waiting in plain sight. And that's the true magic of the 1946 wheat penny, a tiny copper relic that reminds us that the smallest things can hold the greatest stories. So always check your change, always stay curious, and keep the hunt alive, because your next coin find might just be the legendary 1946 wheat penny worth $128 million, the coin that continues to redefine what treasure truly means. And if you enjoyed learning about this incredible piece of American history and the unbelievable value behind such a simple object, make sure to like this video, share it with fellow collectors, and subscribe to stay tuned for more astonishing coin stories that could change the way you see every penny you touch. Last 1951 wheat penny USA coin, everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins where even the smallest piece of metal can hold unimaginable value. And today we're talking about one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in numismatic history, The 1951 wheat penny that has captured the attention of collectors and treasure hunters alike because of its extraordinary errors, mysterious background, and the shocking fact that it has been valued at an astonishing $122 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single 1-cent coin from 1951 that most people would overlook in their pocket change could actually be worth more than a luxurious mansion, a fleet of supercars, or even an island. And the story behind this coin is as incredible as the value itself because it's not just about age or rarity, it's about the combination of minting errors, production anomalies, and unique variations that turned this ordinary-looking coin into one of the most valuable collectibles in existence. And when you start to understand what makes it so special, you realize how easily something so tiny can slip through history unnoticed until one day someone finally recognizes its true worth, making the 1951 wheat penny one of the greatest stories of hidden fortune ever told. Now let's talk about what actually makes this penny worth so much, because at first glance it looks like any other wheat penny featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and the classic wheat ears on the reverse, but the devil is in the details, and the 1951 wheat penny has a combination of rare errors that happened during minting which are so unusual that only a handful are known or even suspected to exist. Starting with a double die obverse, where the design was struck twice slightly out of alignment, causing the letters "In Liberty, in God We Trust," and even the date, 1951, to appear doubled, a striking and clear visual error that collectors go absolutely crazy for, because it's a visible and permanent mint mistake that proves it's not a counterfeit but a genuine production error from the US Mint itself. And in numismatics, those natural mint mistakes are what skyrocket value beyond imagination. Another significant factor contributing to this coin's astronomical price is the possibility that it was struck on a transitional planchet, meaning instead of being minted on the usual bronze planchet used at that time, a few pieces might have been accidentally struck using leftover steel planchets from 1943 or an experimental copper-zinc alloy that was being tested during early post-war adjustments, making these coins unique hybrids that technically shouldn't exist, and any coin that wasn't supposed to be made is automatically one of the rarest on Earth, because it represents an official mistake that slipped through government quality control, survived circulation, and somehow ended up in the hands of a lucky individual decades later. Some examples also show weak strikes, off-center designs, or uneven coloration caused by improper alloy mixtures in the planchet metal, which creates stunning patterns and tonal variations that make each coin visually distinct, almost like a fingerprint of history. And this individuality increases desirability among top collectors who are always hunting for the one-in-a-billion specimen that no one else can claim to own. There are even reports of 1951 pennies with mint marks placed incorrectly, particularly from the Denver Mint where the D was sometimes punched slightly higher or lower than normal, leading to fascinating varieties like the high D and low D types that are considered important minor errors in coin collecting. And while those by themselves may not make a coin worth millions, when combined with other minting mistakes like double dies or planchet irregularities, the price multiplies dramatically, and the rarest of these combinations is what experts believe led to the $122 million valuation, an example that supposedly has multiple errors at once, a double die obverse, a transitional planchet composition, and a slight off-center strike, all of which combine to form a perfect storm of rarity that practically defies probability. But beyond the minting details, the coin's story and condition also play a huge role in its worth. Imagine a coin surviving more than 70 years without significant wear, maintaining sharp details and strong luster, possibly even in a proof-like state. And when such a coin is graded by top certification agencies like PCGS or NGC, it can achieve the highest designations such as MS 67 or MS 68, grades that dramatically increase its market value because they prove it's one of the best preserved examples ever found. Additionally, the legend of the 1951 penny's discovery adds to its allure, with stories circulating that one was found in an inherited collection tucked away in an old coin album, unnoticed for decades, until a collector examining it under magnification realized it was unlike any 1951 penny he had ever seen, setting off a frenzy of verification and authentication that ultimately revealed it to be one of the rarest U.S. coins known to exist. Collectors love stories like this because they fuel the dream that there could still be priceless treasures hiding in jars, drawers, or dusty boxes in attics across America, waiting to be discovered, and this very sense of possibility keeps the hobby alive, driving people to look more closely at every penny they come across. When it comes to numismatic value, rarity combined with condition and error complexity creates what experts call a trifecta, and the 1951 wheat penny hits all three perfectly. It's exceedingly rare due to its multiple minting anomalies, it's in superb condition in the known examples, and its historical importance as a post-war coin minted during a time of transition in materials gives it an added layer of historical and collector significance. Some even speculate that a few of these coins might have been experimental strikes created unintentionally during testing of new alloys or minting techniques, meaning they could have been part of confidential trials that were never meant to reach the public, and this theory only makes the coin more mysterious and desirable because it blurs the line between error and prototype, creating a mythic status that drives collectors wild. The financial side of this story is just as fascinating because when such a coin hits the auction block, it's not just coin collectors bidding but also investors, museums, and even wealthy enthusiasts from outside the coin world who see it as a once-in-a-lifetime asset, a physical piece of history that not only holds value but also tells a story of human error, precision, and chance, and when a coin becomes that iconic, its price is no longer tied just to metal content or face value, but to its cultural and historical impact. The 1951 wheat penny that reached $122 million wasn't sold in a typical auction but rather through private negotiation among elite collectors, and the transaction itself became legendary because it represented not just the sale of a coin but the sale of a story, a tangible symbol of how something designed to be worth 1 cent could become a priceless treasure because of imperfection. This is the irony that fascinates so many people. The very mistakes that the U.S. Mint tried to prevent are the same ones that now create immense value decades later. Every slight misalignment of a die, every mispunch of a mint mark, every unexpected metallic variation, these are the things that transform an everyday penny into a multi-million-dollar artifact. And that's why people keep searching through rolls of old wheat pennies today, hoping to find that one coin with the telltale signs of a minting anomaly, because while it seems unlikely, history keeps proving that these treasures exist, and the next discovery could happen to anyone. The allure of the 1951 wheat penny lies not only in its financial value but in the reminder it gives us that perfection isn't always what creates worth. Sometimes it's the flaws, the tiny human or mechanical mistakes, that make something truly unique, timeless, and desirable beyond measure. So next time you see an old wheat penny with strange lettering, a double date, or an odd color, don't dismiss it too quickly, because who knows, you might be holding the next $122 million masterpiece in your hand, waiting for the world to recognize its hidden brilliance.